That's the story that Sidmouth wants everyone to believe.
Nate Reed frowned.
And the truth. The explosion was intentional.
Clayton blew out a hard breath at the memory of the carnage. He'd been among the first to arrive at the Admiralty and spent the next 3 hours digging bodies out of the rubble. Thank God only one man had been killed.
Explosives were set off deliberately in an attempt to assassinate the Prime Minister. Good God,
Reed muttered.
Fortunately, Lord Liverpool had been delayed.
Only by sheer luck. An apple cart had overturned in the mall and stopped traffic. Liverpool had been stepping down from his carriage in front of the club when the explosives detonated.
We believe another attack will be planned unless we stop it, one that might very well succeed.
St James cursed softly beneath his breath. Liverpool was close friends with the Sinclair family.
Who did this?
Clayton crossed his arms, leaned back against the arm of a leather sofa, and said gravely,
All evidence points to Sceptre.
The criminal organization had pledged itself to overthrowing the monarchy. It had wrapped its tentacles around men at all levels of society and in the government, blackmailing and murdering anyone who stood in its way, including the men of the armory and their families. And what better way to start a revolution than by assassinating the Prime Minister? During the past 6 months, Sceptre had placed into government positions more than enough of their own men, and those they could control through blackmail, to easily replace Liverpool with one of their own, and with resounding cries of support throughout the Empire. Enough support to turn even more public opinion against the Mad King and his debauched sons, seize power and end the monarchy. A second glorious revolution. Who would be able to stop them? As the recent riots had proven, the regent lacked the strength and spine to put down a rebellion of any substantial size. It was up to the men of the armory to save him. A new leading minister, who had the backing of the military, a large portion of the government, and a significant number of reformist Englishmen, could far too easily come sweeping into power. For God's sake, Oliver Cromwell had certainly proved the possibility of doing just that. Now, with revolutions that were replacing monarchs with elected governments spreading across the world, the average Englishman would simply think the time for change had come. But Sceptre would never give true voice to the people. They'd seize power just as tyrannically as Napoleon, slide their own corrupt dictator into place, and change the election laws to make certain he remained in power. Yet, in the last year since the Armory's group of former soldiers had pledged to find Sceptre's leaders and arrest them, they were still no closer to their goal. But now, it seemed, Sceptre had finally made a mistake.
Sidmouth put me in charge of the investigation, Clayton told Reed and St James. It led me to an inn where the men responsible for the explosion had been meeting, but they'd already tossed all their documents into the fireplace and fled by the time I arrived. His mouth twisted. I believe they were warned of my arrival. Then you have a mole in the Home Office, St James drawled. Clayton confirmed that with a curt nod. Which is why I've called upon you two. This investigation needs to remain secret. Only the 3 of us and Lord Sidmouth know about it. No one else inside the Home Office, Bow Street, or any of the offices in Whitehall are aware of this meeting. He paused to make certain they understood the importance of their mission. Not even General Braddock and the other men of the armory have been told, nor will they be. Not by me, not by you. The 2 men exchanged assessing looks, but neither was willing to refuse the mission in front of the other, just as Clayton had hoped. He straightened to his full height and announced, By authorization of Lord Sidmouth, Secretary of the Home Office, you have been charged with stopping the men responsible for the bombing by any means necessary. He paused before adding, and with complete legal immunity. Reed and St James stilled. Both pairs of identical hazel eyes turned sombre with understanding. They had just been sanctioned to commit murder, if necessary. But how do we find them? Reed asked. You said that all the evidence had been destroyed. Except this. Clayton reached into his jacket's inside breast pocket. I found this buried in the ashes of the inn's fireplace. No one at the Home Office knows it exists, not even Sidmouth.